book is available in English with Lexington Books. Okay, whoever is interested. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let me first start with a deep appreciation, of the work that you do, the academic work, the applied research, and efforts to disseminate the multiculturalism, intercultural message to various academic settings in different cultural contexts. I myself have been engaged in similar work, trying to promote dialogue and recognition between groups in Israel in a prolonged conflict, may it be Jews and Arabs, Palestinian Israelis, religious seculars, etc. Here in the Hebrew University settings, in the conflict resolution classes, and also with some college students downtown Jerusalem. And I can say that the work is challenging, more and more challenging. We have successes and we also have some difficulties that I encounter more and more. The programs that you presented and the abstracts that I read, at least, describe successes and also raise some of the challenges, and that's where I would like to focus on the challenges. I think a little bit we heard from the last speaker, not so much from the other ones, but I read it in the abstract, so this will be my little contribution, okay? Okay, so the challenges that you described in the abstract mainly had to do with some resentment or negative attitudes of, how shall I say, participants or clients or natives to the culture of those of you, of us, who actually develop these programs, seeing you or us as the other sometimes, and coming out of their reality, external to their realities, and sometimes resenting. I would like to say some words about these challenges because I've been also encountering them recent year, very much so in Israel. The society has become very polarized and a little less tolerant than it used to be. And I've been working with some students that found the multicultural message difficult. I started asking myself, what is it in this message and the messengers, maybe, that arise resistance among disadvantaged students or groups or communities? And I start talking to colleagues and looking also in the literature, and I found that growing empirical evidence grounded in bottom-up observations and research indicates that this message, I talk about politics of recognition, which we view as a moral imperative, driving social change and fueling contemporary thinking about multicultural education. This message appears to remain alien especially among religious, working class, and other communitarian groups. And as so, educators, students, sometimes parents or people in the community are found to be indifferent to it, question it, and sometimes even resist the politics of multiculturalism, of recognition. And so I came to realize that I suggest, or the literature suggests, that this framework of values that have been talked since this morning here, of justice and equality and peace, from this framework we see otherness and difference very positively, We value it, we see it as enriching, but turns out that not everybody accepts this value system as the preferred one. And so I would like to suggest that this perception or ideology of acceptance of the universal right of all minority groups is often detached from the disparate worlds of meaning adhered to by target populations. And I mean here non-liberal, ethnic, and religious groups. I would like to remind ourselves that this multiculturalism position is actually a value-laden perception. It's an ideology. And in the names of values as equality, justice, equal, resource allocation, where we see heterogeneity as a positive thing, actually contains a challenge, actually, and a clash, a potential clash with a different value perception that wants to maintain the communitarianism and traditional and religious values, and that from their point of view, from the other perception point of view, the most important value is actually maintaining this communitarianism. And so actually the liberal discourse, the encountering, and for some people, for some communities, for some groups, encountering the liberal discourse may lead to a confrontation with their own traditional views and arise some ambivalence. And sometimes even, excuse me for saying it, but sometimes maybe it reflects an elite world of meaning, and sometimes it's extraneous to social networks and moral experiences of marginalized groups that critical liberals aim to serve us. This discourse may have no sense or even threaten the students' identity and sense of place. For many of them, their sense of self-worth and the meaning of their way of life is deeply embedded within national, at least here, with national and ethnic hierarchies, which are not congruent with this pluralistic and multicultural view. So few, I don't know, it's all very short, so few recommendations that I've been thinking about is that maybe we need to open a dialogic space where the two worlds of meaning can meet. I mean, our world of multicultural and pluralistic, and the world of meaning of other groups, many times the marginalized groups. Maybe it will ease a little bit this tension between the liberal message and its target populations. That we should try to put effort, to invest effort in integrating traditionalists with liberal worlds of meaning. So perhaps we need to design a set of bridging techniques to adjust the meaning of components from one network of meaning, the liberal, into another, the more traditional. And to deeply understand the students or the clients or the communities to their own networks of meaning within which their actually sense of belonging and self-worth are rooted. And so I'll end with I think we need to put serious and in-depth to convey deep respect to the local communities as valid and authentic source of identity, and respect and empathy for their world and values and way of life, which at times are very contradictory to this whole multicultural peace and justice. So this is mine. suggestions.